The cage in the war ruins. The sky was dark with smoke. Buildings were broken. The war had ended, but the land still looked like hell. Sergeant Ray Walker moved slowly through the ruins. His boots stepped over ash, wires, and bones. He was searching for any sign of life or death. His mission was simple: find survivors or recover tech. But deep in the broken battlefield, something called to him. It was a sound, soft, weak, almost like a whisper. Help. Ray stopped. He lifted his rifle. His heart beat faster. He followed the sound. Behind a pile of burned metal, he found a hidden entrance. It looked like a sealed storage bunker, half buried in dust and war junk. Ray pushed the heavy metal door, open. The room inside was cold and silent. Lights flickered on the wall. In the center was a cage, old, rusted, and strong. Inside that cage was her, an alien woman. She was curled in the corner, chained, her silver hair dirty and tangled. Her skin, pale and glowing faintly, was marked with bruises and scars. She looked up slowly, eyes glowing a soft violet. Ray stepped back. His hand gripped the rifle tighter. But the woman didn't attack. She didn't scream. She only whispered again, her voice shaking, "Have mercy, Mum." Ray was frozen. He had seen many alien warriors before, but this one, she didn't look like a fighter anymore. She looked broken, beaten. "What are you doing here?" Ray asked, voice firm. "They left me," she said. "They locked me in here when the battle turned. I was property." Ray blinked. "Property?" She lifted her hands, showing the thick cuffs on her wrists. "I'm not dangerous, not anymore." He stepped closer, inspecting the cage. There were old burn marks, maybe from torture. He saw food trays long empty, and a water pipe that hadn't worked in days. "How long have you been here?" he asked. "I don't know," she said. "Maybe days, maybe weeks." Ray sighed. He checked his radio. No signal. She looked at him, eyes filled with something he didn't expect. Fear, not anger, not hate. Then she said something that made Ray stop breathing. "Please, take me with you. I will serve you. I'll give you strong children." "What?" Ray stepped back, shocked. "I can feel it," she said. "Your blood, it matches mine. The genes are rare. My body responds to you." Ray didn't understand. "Why would you say that? You don't even know me." Her lips trembled. "Because if you leave me here, I will die. And I don't want to die alone." Ray looked at her again, this time not as an alien, but as a living being. She was scared, weak, and yet, something about her felt powerful beneath the pain. He opened his pack and pulled out a water pouch. He passed it through the cage. She hesitated, then drank fast, coughing between gulps. "Thank you," she said softly. "What's your name?" Ray asked. The woman looked down. "I don't have one anymore. They stripped it from me." He was silent for a moment. "Then I'll call you Illyra," he said. "You need a name, even now." Illyra looked at him with wide eyes. She touched her chest slowly. "Illyra." He looked around. The place wouldn't stay quiet for long. Soldiers or scavengers could return. "I can't break these chains without tools," Ray said. "But I'll find a way." Illyra reached her hand through the bars and touched his wrist. Her skin was warm despite the cold. "Promise me," she said. "Don't leave me behind." Ray nodded. "I won't." Outside, the wind howled, and far in the distance, something growled in the ruins. But inside the cage, for the first time, Illyra closed her eyes and believed she might survive. Ray didn't sleep that night. He sat just outside the bunker, rifle on his lap, eyes scanning the shadows. But his thoughts kept returning to the cage behind him, and the alien woman inside it. Illyra, that's what he called her now. A name he gave her. A name she accepted like it was the first piece of herself in years. At sunrise, he returned inside. Elira was still in the same spot, hugging her knees. But this time her eyes followed him with hope. Ray crouched beside the cage and slid in a protein bar and a small thermal blanket. "You're not leaving?" she asked in a soft voice. "No," Ray said. "But if Command finds out I helped an enemy, I'll be court-martialed." Elira looked away. "I understand that's how my people treated me too, as a threat or as a tool." Ray studied her face. Under all the bruises, under all the pain, there was beauty and something else, strength buried deep. "I don't see a threat," he said. "I see someone who survived." Tears welled in Elira's eyes, but she quickly wiped them. Ray took a small cutting torch from his bag. "Let's get those chains off." It took time. The cuffs were made of alien metal, thick and strange. Sparks flew. The smell of burned alloy filled the air. Finally, clank. The last chain hit the floor. Elira slowly stood. Her legs were weak. She almost fell, but Ray caught her. She was close now. So close he could feel the heat from her skin. "Thank you," she whispered. "You are the first being to touch me without hurting me." Ray helped her walk to the entrance. The outside light made her squint. She had not seen the sun in weeks. But just then, a voice echoed through Ray's earpiece. "Sergeant Walker, report. We have your signal. A patrol is inbound." His heart dropped. If they saw Elira, they'd either arrest her or kill her on sight. "Hide," Ray said quickly. "Get back inside." Elira obeyed without question. Minutes later, a drone buzzed overhead. Then 2 human soldiers arrived, dirty, armed, and tired. "Walker," one said, "you're off route. What the hell are you doing here?" "Searching for intel," Ray lied. "Found nothing useful." The other soldier stepped toward the bunker. "This area's off-grid. You alone?" Ray blocked his path. "Yeah, just me and some broken junk." The soldiers looked around. One kicked a rusted metal plate, then shrugged. "Waste of time. Command's pulling us out by nightfall. You coming?" Ray nodded. "I'll catch up. Just need to pack." They left without checking inside. Ray waited 5 minutes. 10. Then he called gently, "Elira." "They're gone." She stepped out slowly, her hands shaking. "You protected me, even when it could cost you everything." Ray looked at her. "I don't know why I'm doing this," he said. "Maybe because you were left like trash, and I've seen enough of that in this war." Elira smiled, a sad and soft smile. "Maybe because you still have a heart." That night, they camped inside the bunker. Elira leaned against the wall, wrapped in the blanket he gave her. She spoke softly, but every word cut deep. "My people think strength comes from bloodlines, warriors, power. They used me for my genetics, and then threw me away when I was captured." Ray asked, "Why did you say you'd give me strong children?" She didn't blink. "Because you are the missing key. Your DNA and mine can create something new. My body knows it. I can feel the bond." Ray was quiet. Elira moved closer. "But now I say it not because I must survive. I say it because I want to live, and I want to live with the one who freed me." Outside, war machines still roamed, soldiers still killed, but in this forgotten corner of the world, something rare had happened. A human saved an enemy, and the enemy wanted to become his. Elira sat by the small campfire Ray had made with scrap wires and a cracked heating coil. The faint orange glow danced across her silver skin, making her look less like a prisoner and more like something ancient, something royal. Ray watched her carefully as she wrapped the blanket tighter around her shoulders. Her eyes didn't meet his. She was staring into the fire, like it held memories too painful to speak. Finally, she broke the silence. "I was not always like this." Ray tilted his head. "Like what?" "Chained, dirty, weak." She looked up, and for the first time, Her voice held something sharp beneath the softness. I once ruled over 14 moons. I was the first daughter of the line of Theral. Ray blinked. You were royalty? Elira nodded. Yes, a queen in training. My people called me Valeth, the voice of the flame. But they threw you in a cage? Ray asked, disbelief in his voice. Her jaw clenched. The war changed everything. When humans came, many of my own people panicked. They feared capture, feared dishonor. They traded me to save themselves. Your own people gave you away? Elira laughed bitterly. To them, I was a tool. I carry a rare gene, one passed down through the royal line. A gene that can create powerful warriors if bonded correctly. Ray narrowed his eyes. You mean children? Yes, she said, but only if the mate has the right genetic signal. Yours matches mine perfectly. Ray looked away, suddenly uncomfortable. That's why you said what you said. In the cage. Elira nodded. Yes, but I wasn't offering myself only for survival. I was trying to protect a future they tried to destroy. Ray stood and walked to the edge of the bunker. The wind outside howled through the broken buildings. His heart was heavy. You don't have to repay me like that, he said finally. I didn't save you to use you. She stood up slowly and walked toward him, barefoot on the cracked floor. And that is why you are different. He turned to look at her. What now? We can't stay here. The area will be swept soon. I can still feel the tracker in my spine, she whispered. It burns every few hours. They know I escaped. It's only a matter of time. Ray clenched his jaw. Then we move now. There's an old resistance hideout buried beneath a transit station 20 miles north. You'll risk your life again? She asked. He looked her straight in the eyes. I already did when I opened your cage. Elira reached forward, gently placed a hand on his chest. My people believed I would become the mother of kings or die forgotten. But here I am. A queen who lost everything, except the man who didn't see her as property. There was a silence between them, not awkward, not heavy, just real. Then she said something that made Ray's chest tighten. If you asked me now, not as a savior but as a man, I would still choose you. Ray didn't respond. He simply nodded once, and together they packed what little they had, tools, food packets, a map on Ray's wrist pad, and prepared for the long walk into the unknown. As they stepped out into the cold ruins, Elira whispered, I was once called the voice of the flame, but today I walk with the one who lit it again. The morning air was heavy with smoke. Ray led Elira through the silent streets of the war-torn city. Buildings leaned like dying trees. Metal skeletons of tanks rusted in the corners. Each step they took could be their last. Elira stayed close, her bare feet quiet on the cracked stone. Her strength had returned little by little, but she was still weak, and the pain in her back grew worse every hour. The tracker, she said, her voice tight. It's burning again. Ray stopped beside an old wall and helped her sit. He pulled out his toolkit, then scanned her back with his wrist device. A red dot flashed. It's still active, he whispered. If I don't remove it, they'll find us. Elira looked at him with brave eyes. Then do it. I trust you. Ray hesitated only a second, then pulled out his laser scalpel. He pressed her shoulder gently. Bite this, he said, handing her a thick cloth. The blade hissed to life. He made the cut fast. Elira flinched. Her body shook, but she didn't scream. She bit down hard, her hands gripping the stone beneath her. Within seconds, the tracker, small, black, and blinking, was out. Ray crushed it under his boot. Elira breathed hard, sweating. You have gentle hands, human. Ray wrapped the wound. And you're tougher than most soldiers I know. They moved again, heading toward the old underground transit station. The place Ray hoped was still hidden and safe, but they were not alone. From above, small mechanical eyes blinked in the E. Sky drones, Ray saw them first. Down! he yelled, pulling Elira under a wrecked transport truck. The drones hovered, scanning the street. Elira's skin began to glow faintly, her body responding to stress. "They'll see my heat signature," she whispered. Ray looked around and saw an old power box nearby. "Stay here," he ordered. He dashed through broken walls, reached the power box and threw a rock at it. Boom! Sparks exploded. Smoke filled the air. The drones turned toward the noise. Ray ran back. "Now!" Elira grabbed his hand and ran with him, faster than he thought she could. Together, they raced down broken stairs into the dark tunnels of the underground. The air below was damp, cold, still. Ray lit a flare. They were inside the old transit hub, forgotten, hidden. Cracked seats lined the walls. Rusted trains slept in silence. Ray sealed the doors behind them. He checked his pulse. It was racing. So was Elira's. She sat down hard, breathing fast. "They're hunting us," he nodded. "Yeah, and they won't stop. I don't want to run anymore," she whispered. Ray sat beside her. "Then let's fight." Elira looked at him. Really looked. "You're not afraid?" "I've been afraid since this war started," Ray said. "But I'd rather fight beside someone who matters than follow orders that don't." Her hand found his. Her fingers were cold but steady. "You don't know what you've done," she said. Ray turned to her. "I saved you." "No," she whispered. "You awakened me." Suddenly her eyes flared bright. Her skin shimmered like firelight. "What's happening?" Ray asked. Elira stood slowly. "The royal gene. It's reacting to your presence. It's completing the bond." "What bond?" he asked. She placed a hand over her chest. "The sacred bond between protector and queen. Between life and rebirth." Ray stepped closer. "Are you saying—" "Yes," she said. "You didn't just break my chains, you gave my power a reason to return." But before they could speak more, a loud sound echoed above. Clang, 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 metal boots. They'd found them. Ray raised his weapon. Elira stepped in front of him. "Stay behind me," she said. Her body began to pulse with golden light, like a star waking up after sleeping for 1,000 years. "I am no longer a slave," she whispered, "and no one will touch the man who set me free." The old Earth station was silent. Too silent. Ray led Elira through a side tunnel marked with faded Earth Federation symbols. Most had forgotten this place even existed, but Ray had found it, once as a boy, back when soldiers trained here and called it Sanctuary 12. Now it was just broken tech, cracked walls, and shadows. But it was safe. For now. Ray opened a metal door using a manual override. The room beyond was dusty, but warm. Old solar panels still powered dim yellow lights. A heater buzzed weakly in the corner. Bunk beds stood unused for decades. Elira walked in slowly. Her glowing skin made the place look golden. "It smells like memory," she said softly. Ray smiled. "That's what I thought, too." She sat gently on the lower bunk, legs pulled to her chest. She looked smaller here, not a queen, not a weapon, just a girl who hadn't slept in a real bed for years. Ray checked the locks, set his rifle nearby, then sat across from her. "You can rest now," he said. "I don't know how," she replied. "Every time I closed my eyes before, someone would hurt me." Ray's chest tightened. "No one will touch you here, I promise." Elira looked up. "You always say that. I promise." "Why?" He leaned back against the cold wall. "Because no one ever said that to me growing up. Not and meant it." She stared at him. "Then I believe you." A long silence followed. But it wasn't uncomfortable. It was healing. Ray stood and walked to a corner locker. He pulled out an old Earth-style hoodie and handed it to her. "Might be big, but it's warm." She touched the soft cloth like it was a treasure. "Thank you. Again." He smiled. "That's what humans do. We give clothes to shivering strangers. She laughed lightly. It was the first time he'd heard her laugh, but just then, his wrist pad flashed red. Motion detected. Outside. 4 life signs. Armed. They found us, he said. Elira stood quickly. Then we run. No, Ray said. This place has defense codes. I can seal it. They'll never get past the 3rd hallway. But you'll be trapped too. I've been trapped in worse, he replied. Elira stepped forward. Her hands gripped his shoulders. You're risking everything for me. Ray looked into her violet eyes. I didn't save you because of your DNA or your past or what. You can give. I saved you because no one else did. Elira's lip trembled. She stepped closer. And I will never leave your side now, even if death comes. A loud clang echoed in the tunnel. Ray activated the lock. Metal gates slammed down through the corridors. Elira's glow faded slightly, still tired, still recovering, but now lit by a calm fire inside her. She sat beside him on the cold floor. Tell me, she whispered. What was Earth like before the wars? Ray closed his eyes, remembering. There were cities with lights that never went out, oceans with no warships, kids laughed in schoolyards, music played in streets, and people fell in love, without blood between them. Elira smiled gently. Maybe one day I can see that version of Earth. Ray opened his eyes. If you stay with me, maybe you will. She rested her head on his shoulder. I never thought I'd find peace in a war zone, she said. And I never thought I'd share warmth with a royal alien in a hoodie, Ray replied, grinning. Outside, boots pounded the ground, but inside the hidden sanctuary, something rare had bloomed. Safety, connection, and the start of something deeper. But peace in a broken galaxy never lasts long, and someone from Elira's past was already hunting her. For 2 days, they didn't leave the hidden sanctuary. Ray checked the defenses, rewired old cameras, and blocked the heat sensors. Elira helped where she could, but most of the time, she just sat quietly, watching him. He moved with purpose. He worked without complaint, and he spoke to her like she wasn't broken. Elira had never known kindness like this. She was royalty once, feared, worshipped, then sold like an object. But no one had ever made her feel safe. Until now. That evening, Ray made soup from old ration packs. It smelled terrible, but it was warm. Elira took her first sip and blinked. It tastes like metal and hope. Ray laughed. That's the official soldier flavor. They sat together, leaning against the old bunker wall. Elira wore his hoodie still, now covered in dust and small tears, but it was hers now. Can I ask something? She said, stirring the soup. Of course. If you hadn't found me, if you never opened that cage, would you have slept at night? Ray looked into the fire. No. I think part of me would have stayed in that ruin forever. Then maybe, she whispered. We both escaped a cage that day. The words hung in the air like magic. Suddenly, her body shivered. Her skin lit with soft golden pulses. Not pain, something else. Elira? Ray moved close. Are you okay? Yes, she said, but her voice was strange, echoing. Something is changing. She fell to her knees, hands on the floor. The room vibrated slightly as if her very presence was shifting the air. Ray reached out, touched her back gently, and at that moment, a light sparked from her spine, flowing through her chest, down her arms, into her hands. Then, silence. The glow faded. Elira collapsed into Ray's arms, but she wasn't hurt. She was new. When her eyes opened, they glowed brighter than before. Her voice was clear, smooth, and steady. The bond has begun. Ray's brow furrowed. What bond? She touched his hand. Between our blood, our energy. Your DNA has awakened my core. Ray didn't move. You said something like this before. That our genetics match. Elira nodded. Yes, it's rare. Impossible, really, but your blood, it doesn't fight mine. It welcomes it. And now I can feel your heartbeat, even without touching you. Ray was speechless. I didn't choose this path, she said, voice soft. But now that it's started, I don't want to walk it alone. He looked into her eyes, not with fear, but with something deeper. Respect. Awe. You're not alone, he said. And just then, a sound echoed through the ceiling, a transmission. Old tech, cracking with static. Ray stood fast, adjusting the broken comlink. A voice came through, cold, sharp, and cruel. This is Commander Vareth of the Theral Remnant. The escaped royal is nearby. We detected a power surge. We are coming. Elira's face froze. Ray whispered, Do you know that name? She nodded slowly. He was my cousin, the one who betrayed me, the one who sold me to the enemy for protection. Ray tightened his grip on his rifle. Then he's not coming to rescue you. No, she said, her voice turning steel. He's coming to claim me. As a weapon. Ray placed a hand on her shoulder. Then he'll have to go through both of us. She turned to face him fully. I am ready now, she said, not as a queen, not as a slave, but as the woman who owes her life to you. And in that fire-lit room, deep beneath the broken surface of Earth, a strange kind of love was born, not soft and slow, but forged in war and survival. A bond between two lost souls, and it was unbreakable. The ground above shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The lights in the bunker flickered. Ray checked his rifle. Loaded. One spare magazine. Not enough. Elira stood behind him, calm, glowing faintly from within. Her strength had returned fully, but it wasn't the same strength as before. It was something new, something ancient. Her eyes glowed gold. Her voice was steady. Here. Outside the sanctuary, warships hovered. Heavy boots slammed on stone. Drones scanned every surface, their red eyes flashing. And at the center of it all was Commander Vareth, Elira's cousin, now twisted by pride and power. Ray looked at the bunker entrance. They'll break through in minutes. Elira stepped beside him. Let them try. Ray looked at her, half in awe, half in fear. What if we don't make it? Elira turned to him. Then they'll remember the day two stood against many. Suddenly, a heavy explosion. The main door cracked. Metal screamed. Ray raised his weapon, ready to defend, but Elira stepped forward. Stay behind me, she said. Her body glowed brighter, pulsing like a star. The air shimmered around her. Her hair lifted in the energy storm forming around her form, and then the door burst open. Troopers rushed in, weapons ready, but they froze, not because of Ray, because of her. Elira stood tall, royal, fierce. Her voice echoed through the chamber, not loud but unshakable. I was sold, I was caged, I was betrayed by blood, but today, I rise by choice. One soldier fired. A plasma bolt rushed toward her. She raised her hand, and the blast shattered mid-air. The attackers hesitated. Ray watched, stunned. Elira moved like lightning. She raised both hands, and light exploded from her palms. A wave of force that sent soldiers flying backward into the corridor. Vareth stepped through the smoke, face twisted with rage. You belong to your bloodline, he shouted. You are Theral property. Elira stepped forward, golden light swirling around her. I belong to no one. I walk beside the human who gave me freedom. She turned to Ray, who stood beside her now. He did not chain me. He healed me. Vareth aimed his weapon. Ray didn't wait. He stepped in front of Elira and fired, once, twice. One bolt hit Vareth's shoulder, sending him stumbling back, but Vareth was not alone. More troops came from behind, shouting, charging. Elira gripped Ray's hand. Are you with me? She asked. Till the end, he replied. No, she whispered. To the new beginning. And with that, she unleashed her full power. A massive wave of light erupted from her body, forming a shield around them both. It wasn't just heat, it was memory, pain, rage, and hope all in one. The troopers fell to their knees. Vareth screamed as his own armor cracked, his weapon melting in his hands. And then, silence. When the light faded, only Elira and Ray stood. Everyone else was unconscious or gone. Ray dropped to one knee, breathless. Elira bent down, holding his face gently. You were the only one who didn't see me as a weapon, she said softly. And you were the only one who didn't see me as just a soldier, he replied. Tears welled in her eyes, but they didn't fall. She helped him stand, and together they walked through the broken doors, past the stunned soldiers, past the fire and smoke into the rising morning light. And when they emerged, something strange happened. The remaining troops dropped their weapons, not out of fear, but out of respect. They bowed, because they had seen it now. The rebirth of a queen, and the man she chose to walk beside her.